here. Target now has bomb threats, they say, just in time for summer. As I knew the summer of psyops is coming back just like they promised. Well, this is a big one here. Bomb threats made against Target stores in Utah, Ohio, and Pennsylvania over pride controversy. Pride controversy. So we knew the Trans-Tifa was building up steam again, just in the nick of time as the Democrats' favorability, just amongst Democrats, for never mind the American people, is tanking, just in time as the Obamas of the world and the people tied to Newtown in Connecticut are beginning to just open their gobs and start talking about something that O'Keefe Group, his new thing, just discovered with the Fetterman people. They let it slip that they're going to get ready to try to abolish the Second Amendment. They're going to try hard. Now, to do that, we know what they have to do and what they're going to do. They're going to do another trans event here, a Trans-Tifa false flag. And it's going to come this summer. Just in the fog of war, in the whirlwind of war, they're calling up all the Trans-Tifas who are just hanging out in the, just the barracks together and getting them ready. Hopefully, they'll bring the right pair of shoes this time and not have to switch them in the midst of a crossfire gun shootout. Yeah, there's that little flaw there. But going back to this here, this is now going to the next level. Multi-bomb threats. And I don't know if you can smell it on your end, but if you can, that's the smell of FBI, if you're smelling the same thing as me. Investigating bomb threats made against Target stores in 3 states after all being local media, blah, 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 blah. Salt Lake City. We encourage anyone who's seen suspicious to immediately call 911. Well, we know who did it. We know who's doing it. We know this is self-inflicted wounds. And what I said over the weekend, too, I mentioned to some associates that covering these so-called woke, go broke stories and the vitriol that comes with it is not doing it for me now, because that's the low-hanging fruit of distraction, because these are being done by the hedge fund companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, as Sam explained, very good on him, to hedge their bets, to profit from the loss of these great American companies. So somebody's forcing all these major Fortune 500 companies to go this route. And who suffers for it? Yes, we do mentally, and the kids, what have you. But the people that are employed by these companies, the thousands of workers, the exports, everything across the world, the entire network, this damages further the American economy. Yet they're profiting from it. Or is there another hidden hand within the hidden hand, just to add some, just to make it a bit more complicated for you? Is this being done on purpose to take out what I've always described as the true deep state, is the corporations, as America has turned into the corporatocracy that has been right in front of us? Life has only just gone downhill, hasn't it? The bigger and the more efficient and prominent these corporations are in this country, it spreads like disease, and our quality of life goes down because, you know what, you're just a number now. So Target is now targeting themselves, bomb scares, and this is the perfect storm now. Perfect storm. And the bomb scares that they're probably going to tell people after they do the investigation, they're going to say, well, Billy Bob over there from Louisiana or Texas, the good old boys, they just hate what Target did, and now they're just trying to bomb everybody. Because that's what people do. You talk to any militia person out there, they're not talking about, well, we need to go bomb this. Oh, what do you think? Well, I don't know about that. Pass me my moonshine. That is fiction. You know who talks like that? Feds and the Weather Underground. That's right. Remember the Weather Underground from the 60s, headed by Susan Rosenberg. There's a name I haven't said in a long time. If you don't know who Susan Rosenberg is, then you're not one of the cool kids, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Well, this is Susan Rosenberg, and this is the playbook as the Rules for Radicals is now coming to a theater near you this summer. Now Susan Rosenberg is now leading, secretly, the Black Lives Matters. Oh, you got to be kidding me. No, I'm not. So here we are again. The stage is set. But wait, there's more. Now, as this is happening, all the targets that are not that are being targeted, well, one of them is Florida. And I saw this little thing here, this little news blurb earlier today as I was busy editing for what's to come this weekend. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it with my own eyes. I said, we are now in the next level of, well, insanity. And yet it's so fun, isn't it? Well, here it is, NAACP. They're the League of United Latin, League of United Latin American Citizens. Over the weekend, when the group issued a historic travel advisory for Florida, claiming that Governor Ron DeSantis' policies were undemocratic and openly hostile to people, that's right, of color, and people who identify as communists. Oh, I'm sorry, LGBTQ+. Yeah, that's right, Florida is openly. So what a perfect storm now. They're now telling people not to travel there. But they certainly won't tell. Here's who they won't tell. They're certainly not going to stop the Haitians from traveling to Florida from Haiti, are they? No, that's encouraged. But they want to create they want the race war that Charles Manson talked about in 1968. By the way, it's no coincidence that one of the Manson family members is now, looks like she's going to be the first for parole. A lot of them have been denied. It looks like Newsom, who is just letting every murderer, rapist out of prison all the way up to death row. Well, he's definitely, it's seemingly looking like he's going to be letting out one of the Manson family members in this time where they're pushing a race war. And level-headed people can recognize it. Level-headed people can understand it. Level-headed people can put fires out where there's confusion. But when we have a youth today, when we have a youth that has been radicalized, have been told that they are disenfranchised from birth, there's no difference from now, from all the way back to 1492 at this point. They got nothing to lose and just scorned from, pick one of these groups, NAACP, AAMCO, I mean, all of them. So yeah, don't go to Florida. And I guarantee you people are like, yeah, please don't come to Florida. We agree. We're just fine without any of you. I mentioned that the violence is escalating, and it really is. Marines were brutally beaten over the weekend. Marines over there in Camp Pendleton, over there in Orange County. I've never seen anything like this, but it shows you the nature of the United States and the world in 2023. Here it is.
My face still had like blood all over it.
3 local Marines are recovering from an attack by a large group of teens in San Clemente. It happened Friday night near the pier. Disturbing video shows 2 of the Marines taking cover on the ground as they're being repeatedly kicked in the head and upper body. The Orange County Sheriff's Department is working to track down the culprits.
This is considered an assault with a deadly weapon because of the amount of suspects that we are investigating. The weapons that were used were their feet while these victims were on the ground. So regardless if the victims choose prosecution or choose medical attention, the Sheriff's Department is going to investigate this to the fullest and try to determine who the suspects are.
You have 2 Marines who are in the fetal position, who are being kicked, brutalized by teenagers who were throwing fireworks at random people walking by. You have white, you have black, you have Hispanic, everything. They're outnumbered. And who knows what's going to happen to these Marines here. I don't know what the offense, the punishment of this would be, but let me tell you, we saw this ramp up 2 years ago in that same area in San Clemente. You had the so-called leader of Black Lives Matter. They tried to do a false flag and pin the death of a homeless man who was shot, pin it on the racist San Clemente cops, but the whole thing fell apart. That's what we're fighting. Every trans-Tifa, every so-called lone shooter is been experimented on, is involved with a government program, from Nicholas Cruz, from the Stoneman Parkland High School, which I traveled down to, and I found out his origins. It's all tied to the nefarious criminal agencies and the sectors within that are pushing this upon us. Chicago descends deeper into dystopia as armed robbers target 48 victims this very weekend. And you better believe they're going to try to replicate and outdo themselves as the closer we get to July 4th here, just like they did in Chicago last year. Chicago's in deep S. Deep S. Let me continue here real quick, which is going to show groups of armed thugs rob 2 residents who stood outside their house now. Residents of Chicago are being urged by police to remain vigilant as 48 reported cases of these are happening now as we speak. And this is a gun-free zone now, Chicago. This is an assimilation of what it means to be a free of any kind of guns, defense, racist ideology. That's Chicago. Don't talk about who dies there, but here's a little report because you have to understand just the true meaning of what it means to report on this if you're a Chicago news reporter, because you're so limited on just being human at this point. Here it is.
In these incidents, food vendors and individuals either coming home or going to work are being targeted. CBS 2's Andrew Ramos is live in East Garfield Park, where the latest holdup happened. Andrew.
That's right, Dana. Right now we are at the 2600 block of West Warren Boulevard. It's where one of 13 armed robberies happened on Saturday morning. And it all happened within a span of 2.5 hours. This robbery spree, police say, is part of a larger pattern that started last month. Now let's take a look at this map because it gives you a really good idea of how much ground the suspects covered in such a short amount of time. Police say the holdups that happened Saturday morning took place in various neighborhoods like Humboldt Park, Little Village, and Hermosa, starting at 5:40 a.m. The last one happening just after 8 a.m. Now in each case, the armed suspects targeted either food vendors or people who are leaving or getting ready to go to work. They often jumped out of a stolen vehicle, robbing the victims of their belongings. These robberies, police say, are part of a pattern that dates back to April 22nd. Since then, investigators believe as many as 48 robberies are linked to these suspects. The suspects are described as being a group of 3 to 4 young males ranging in age to 17 to 21. In each case, they have been wearing black ski masks.
Wait a minute. What kind of young males? What kind of young males? Because everybody has a category now. Everybody has a chosen pronoun of how they want to be addressed. If we have armed robberies on a spree in my neighborhood neck of the woods, don't you think we need to know? I mean, does the guy have one arm? Does he have a bum leg? Does he have a droopy eye? Does he have white complexion, dark complexion? Is he from Puerto Rico? Does he wear glasses? So, because all we know so far now, as I was sharing with you, is these very stunted news reporters said, it's just 3, 4 youth going around. That's all we know. Because I guarantee you, if it was, dare I say, white youth who had cowboy hats, or I don't know, you would know about it before even people in their own neighborhood here. Let's finish this off before I have to correct the situation here for my own health. Here it is.
Dark clothing and blue gloves. Now, Chicago police have issued a community alert encouraging residents to be very vigilant of their surroundings when they step in and out of their vehicle.
Okay, you know what, Egghead? He said they have dark clothing and blue gloves. Well, that just narrows it down, right? Dark clothing and blue gloves. What are they, dishwashers? But we know that the violence around the United States right now it's at an all-time high by design, meaning the opposition here in this game of deadly, lethal chess, battle chess here, all their major pieces are gone. It was Henry Kissinger's 100th birthday over the weekend. Yeah. Former U.S. diplomat Henry Kissinger. Let me just reiterate something here, because growing up, if you don't pay attention, you just think that this guy here, Henry Kissinger, this guy, is just some, elderly old statesman who just likes to have, coffee with every president and hang out, nothing better to do. No, this man is evil. This is a war criminal who is responsible for the deaths of millions of Cambodians, Malaysians too, I'm sure, and Vietnamese, well after the Vietnam War was over. Well after. But here is the most disgusting part of it, too. In 1972, he wrote a memorandum, which we talked about in the main show, where the memorandum stated, which was then copy and pasted to the Agenda 21 of the UN, which is Agenda 2030, that a depopulation was needed starting in 1972, in starting with the third world countries, and then make their way outwards. Think about that. Over the past 50 years now, this has been happening now, and he has been sitting inside the wings of the Pentagon and the federal government, not just as a friendly advisor, which he profits from. He has his own private firm, I've learned, but he's also majorly involved, heavily involved, influential towards every president, except for the last, and is one of the most cherished members of the Bohemian Club. That's right. Him and Merv Griffin were just bosom buddies, so to speak. But evil, blood on his hands, and he still has influence, and nobody can get to this guy. Nobody can question him. Hillary Clinton loves him. So that's my little birthday wish for Henry. And finally, too, is Disneyland. They're all coming to California now. Yeah, you heard that about Florida. They're bringing their business down there, too. I have a lot of friends that still love Disneyland. They don't pay attention. It doesn't bother them one bit because it doesn't affect them. But if you're to go to Disneyland now, they literally have, over there in Anaheim, California, they have a Disney employee working as a fairy godmother at Disneyland. Well, you hear that and you're like, okay, what's the big deal? Who cares about that? That's fine, perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. Well, not this one here. This one is not perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. This is a different kind of fairy godmother, and just a little sample of what they want to refill the stock shelves of the United States with once this great reset is supposedly going to be happening this summer. Here's a little tidbit here, and why I will never step foot in Disneyland ever again. Here it is.
So my name's Nick. I want to fairy godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day. So my name's Nick. I want to fairy godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day.
That's Princess Nicholas. You see, they're already starting now. So if I hear one more time somebody tell me how they're bringing their kids to Disneyland, or they're going to watch the new Disney movie, like The Little Mermaid, which has a bunch of kinky little cryptic messages in it. If I hear this one more time with anybody, I'm not holding back anymore to express my feelings. If Princess Nick can express his feelings that he thinks he's a fairy godmother, well, I'm going to express what the entire agenda and the entire real deal of Disneyland and this whole thing is about. Because the pacifists, the lobotomized, boosted, just bodies out there are relics of the past, just like Henry Kissinger.